what's up, everybody? Well, it was nice of Patreon to drop that right before we went live. Actually, in all seriousness, I'm kind of glad that it happened when it did, for the simple fact that it gives me the chance to tackle all the questions that you guys very well might have now. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. Hey, there we go. All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take care of the elephant in the room first off, which is the big news that Patreon dropped, that basically they're offloading all the processing fees onto the supporters, all the patrons, which doesn't make sense to me. I on the one hand, I get how they want to be able to give as much money to the creators, but this is cutting off our noses to spite our face, even though we had nothing we had no say in it. We don't have an option here. We can't opt out of this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle the questions that people asked in Slack first, and then I'll get to y'all's live. All right. So let's see. I'm going to focus on this first. Okay, so Sid Earth asked, is it possible to support Heavy Cardboard through the store via monthly payments? I'd like to do it, but I don't have a full year's worth of support on hand. We don't have a way to do that right now. And to be honest with you, that would be an accounting nightmare on our end to keep track of all the different lists. Like, okay, wait, we have a Patreon list, then we have the annual subscribers, then we have the monthly. And to be honest with you, we just want to make the content. Without it sounding like I'm ungrateful for being able to do this full time, the majority, a large part, I will say, of my time is spent on administrative stuff as is, and adding to that is just not something that we want to do, to be totally honest. And I just don't have time for it. I mean, especially this month, I don't have time for it. So as of right now, that's not going to be something that we really entertain. And if that ends up killing us because of it, then so be it. But it doesn't make sense on our end. Okay. So hopefully y'all understand that. Let's see. Yeah, and Jonathan says, how will they keep track of the support if we don't do it in yearly installments? And does everyone if everyone does a different monthly increment? Yeah, it's just a logistical nightmare, and we don't have. It's just me full time, and Amanda has enough on her plate as is. So we just not going to happen. So on that note, let's talk about Patreon versus annual. All right. So, all right. Patreon, well, almost everybody that's going to be watching this is at least either started on Patreon and became an annual, or is currently a Patreon monthly patron. So you guys know how that works. All that means is, so how this works is, if nothing were to change, we would end up getting, based on last month's numbers, I think we did the math, I think it's like $238 extra a month. With this new change, provided nothing were to change. Well, we've already lost 2 patrons today. So we gained 1, but we lost 2. So is it in direct relation to this? I don't know. But I would prefer us just to continue to pay the fees, because it comes out to $89. It varies each month, and that's what people were talking about. But so far, it's always been 89 point something % of the gross, what we get before taxes, obviously, that we have to pay in April. So 89.19 up to like 89.4% is what we actually get. So this, like I said, would be about a $240 difference, which nothing to sneeze about. That's a car payment, right? No, not the BMW. I'm just saying in general. So it's not an insignificant amount of money, but I think us paying the fees and you guys only having to deal with the round numbers would have been better, but I don't have a choice now. So let's talk about the other side of this, becoming an annual patron. So if you go to the store, heavycardboard.com versus or slash, I don't know what the address is, but you guys know what I'm talking about. If you go to the store, then you'll see you can get an annual patronage on all the identical levels. So it's the exact same. The only difference is you get your updates a few minutes later than the guys on Patreon do. Because what I do is I send an email to the contact@heavycardboard.com. I copy everything that I wrote to the patrons. I paste it over here. I format it just a hair different. And then I have a annual patron email list. And that goes into the BCCs. And boom, I send it out and they get it. So that's really the only difference. Obviously, we get right now, we would pay, it's through the store, about 4% we lose on the annuals each, because it's a one-time payment, right? So it's 2.9% plus like 35 cents. And then Squarespace takes their cut for hosting the site and having all the transaction go through there. But it comes out to about 4% we lose. So in the end, we do make more take home for us than if you guys go through Patreon. But hold on. Now, this is all fine and dandy, and it's great. We get the money up front and this and that, whatever. However, I'll be honest with y'all. I'm really, really scared about what happens come October 1st / November 1st, 2018. When right now, currently, before the news came out and anybody that wants to become an annual now, there were 37 annual patrons. The rest of the, well, let's say this were right. This isn't anymore. I think it's 602 now, but whatever. So 604 minus 37 minus 33, 567 of y'all are on Patreon. 37 of y'all are on annuals. My question is, do the annuals re-up come next year? Or if there's a huge exodus of going from Patreon to the annuals, that becomes a significant amount of money then. And come October 1st, November 1st, 2018, do we have to stress about that? Are people going to re-up? Are they not? Because then all of a sudden it goes from, a sustainable level to, we can't pay the bills. So I'm stressed about that. I'm legitimately nervous about that. Today didn't help. I really wasn't as nervous about it as I am now, with the potential everybody talking, well, I'm just going to become an annual then, which is all fine and good for this year. I'm just looking about in subsequent years. And maybe it's a mountain out of a molehill, but it's an awfully big molehill if so. So, yeah, I mean, I'm fidgeting because I'm legitimately nervous about this. And, hey, you guys know we're going to be transparent. I'm going to tell you guys how it is. So, yeah, that scares me. But I also understand, especially for the $2 patrons out there, this is like it's like a 20-30% increase for them. So that's untenable, right? I mean, that's not realistic to expect folks to pay that whereas it was $2, $5, $10, whatever. Now it's, $5.50. 50 cents in the course of a month comes out to $6 a year. Not a lot. I get that. But principle, number one, and number two, it just might turn people off because of what they're doing. So, even if it does end up putting more money in our pockets, I don't like the direction and the fact that we had no say in it and we can't opt out of it. So there you go. That's where I sit. With this. So yeah, I'm gonna now catch up on the chat here. So give me a second here, y'all. Earl Grey. Uh, okay. So I guess there's really only one question by, is it Portos Ricos? We'll go with that. Do you advise the annual sub when it is finished to ask to resub? Um, no, like I just said on that, it's entirely we made the option available because we wanted to be able to get those folks that say, hey, I don't like the recurring month, and now with the change and everything else. So we made the annual an option, and like other folks, some folks are saying I can't afford the annual. I get that. But from a bookkeeping standpoint for us, monthly just isn't reasonable. And that's why if you want monthly, there's Patreon, even if it ends up, well, it did cost us more, but it doesn't now. Now that's put off on y'all, which again, we're not super keen on. So do I recommend people go into the annual? That's a question that you have to answer. I can't really answer that for you. It's going to be person to person, what you're more comfortable with. I will just be 100% honest with you that I am really, really nervous that come October 1st, November 1st, and we basically will do some, I don't know, we'll send a mass email or we'll send an email individually, depending on how many there are, saying, hi, remember us, you're no longer supporting us. Will you re-up for another year? I guess, and hope people do that. We haven't gotten that far. We haven't thought that far ahead, to be honest. So yeah. And Marlon says you won't know until that point. Don't stress too much about it. Keep doing what you're doing. You'll succeed. And I appreciate that. But I also have a wife and a house and a family to support. So I have to look forward. I have to be looking at that. Today did not help with that, I don't think. But I mean, it's one of those things. And for those that are in Slack, I tend to be a lot more open in Slack than I am like on Twitter or anything else. To where it's not that I'm Chicken Little, and it's not that I'm a huge pessimist. It's just I'm ambitious, I'm driven, and impatient. But I'm also always looking at the big picture and always looking ahead. And so it's a concern that I have, but Marlon's right. I can't worry about that because I literally have no control over whether or not annuals re-up or not. So it is what it is, I guess. So there, enough about that. Let's see. Mech engineer. That's what it says. I'm trying to figure out what that is. He says, I totally get the anxiety about sustainability, but you can get it to send reminders so people don't lapse. I feel like people aren't going to change their sub if you keep producing like you have. I hope so. I mean, I also was really nervous that there would be a huge drop off come December 1st after we gave away the table. That didn't happen, right? So don't worry about things that you can't control. So I get that, but I'm also a realist. Okay. So we'll see. So that's it. I mean, yeah. So that's where we're at as far as, do we like it? No, we're not keen on this. Is there anything we can do about it? Maybe, but I'm not going to say anything. It's something that we're going to look into. But like I said in the message/email that I sent to y'all, that it's something that is not going to be done hastily. It's something that we're going to look at whether or not we can do something on our own, a la shut up and sit down, something like that. But as of right now, you have two options if you want to support the show monetarily. Patreon, regardless or of the way it's playing out today, or annual. And obviously, I mean, I think it's clear, but I still feel it's important to reiterate this in all my correspondence with y'all that thank you. Like, this is, it's pretty awesome to be able to do this. And I would like to continue, and I can only do it with y'all. So thank you for that. All right. Phil says I'm yet to see a creator, a content creator that's happy with this. Makes you wonder who Patreon supposedly consulted with. Seems to punish those that rely on lots of small amount of pledges. 100%. That is spot on. Here's a good example. The biggest Patreon in the world. It's a show called Chapo Trap House. I don't get why, but hey, God bless them. Good on them. They make what, $86,000 a month, I think, thereabouts, last I saw. They have one level, $1. That's it. Right. And obviously people could give more than that, but I am really interested to see how that plays out with somebody like that. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, and Martin says, hi Martin. He says, see how it goes. But if you get a big bunch in 1 month, then you can come up with some early payment scheme to mitigate the risk. Fair point. See, there you go. Good idea. Yep. Yes, I am very much a type A. There, yeah, I am a huge, yes, I know that. All right, then, so continuing on, this whole thing is not going to be all about the Patreon change, I promise. So, but I figure this is going to be the main thing that's on people's mind. It is on mine, I assure you. Vincent says, at this moment, I have to pay 21% VAT on my $5 patron. Coming the extra cost of Patreon, that'll be between $6.50 and $7 for a $5 Patreon. Annual payment sounds better and better to me. See, I totally get that. You shouldn't have to pay the VAT or VAT. I'm not sure how you say that, but on stuff like this, it doesn't make sense to me. So especially in international or in the EU, it totally makes sense for those folks to become annuals. I don't begrudge anybody. Like I said, on the short term, it helps us in a sense that we get all the money up front. Awesome. However, a year from now is when the big question mark comes up. So we'll see how, we'll see what happens. But yeah, you guys make fair points not to stress about that. Yep. Totally agree. Mech engineer. Yes. Yeah, the Bitcoin, yeah, that's jumped up quite a bit, hasn't it? All right. So I think that's it. If you guys have any more questions or you're not 100% sure on how the numbers play out or where we stand, ask. Otherwise, I'll move on. So if you guys have any other questions, in the meantime, I figure what I would do is, thanks, Philip. What I figured I would do is, since got a little bit of time, while I'm waiting on questions, I could show off all the swag that came in, see if folks want to see that. So I'm wearing the gray hat or the black hat, as you can see today. There, right? Okay. And I appreciate that, Duncan. Thank you. I forget I don't have to repeat the questions because we're not going to release this as an Ask the Elephant. So it's habit, guys. I apologize. I'm guessing if you lose a number of subscribers. Yeah, but I don't like having to put the impetus on people that are already giving. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to, squeeze a turnip or squeeze a rock. That's not the way I want to go about doing this. So yeah. All right. All right. So Michael says, well, since we got questions, the swag can wait. What's been my favorite part of the Advent streams? The Pixie Queen, that one stream has been my favorite so far. On a logistics level, holy cow. Whoo. On a logistical level, I like that it's forced me into a routine, whether I want to be or not, because come hell or high water at 7 p.m. my time, we're going live. You better be ready. So I like that it has that deadline aspect. That has helped, especially coming off of all the craziness of con season. Now I don't have to worry about that, and trying to find my level, trying to find my normal. This is helping. It's going to be really weird come January, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Learn a game? Right? No. So that's kind of fun. So I've enjoyed that. The interactions, like there have been more people in the streams. We've been averaging like 80 plus in the streams, which that's been a pleasant surprise and a legitimate surprise. So that's been cool. And with games like Pixie Queen, and some that are coming like next week, turning people onto these really obscure games, some of them, I'm excited to be able to do that. But my favorite part is probably just seeing how many people are joining us and are taking part in this. And I'm not saying, ooh, look at our numbers. I mean, it's cool. We have all these people to interact with during the stream, and it helps keep us energized, because we still have a long ways to go. We still got 19 more. Yeah, 19 more of these to get. Well, 20 actually, because I'm doing 2 today and I'm doing 2 on Friday, right? So yeah, that would probably be it. Yeah, I think that's my favorite part so far. Randall asks, is the Docmus expansion on the docket? Return to Arafel, it's right there. Yep, that's what we're playing tonight. Yep. Peter asks, best game so far from Essen. Man, we haven't played a ton. Well, we played a portion of them. Best single game? Pixie Queen, QE, or Keeper of the games we've played so far. I would say those. For me. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to speak for Amanda, but for me, that's it. And Yorick asked about the questions. I'm sorry, the older games. Where is it? Here we go. Yorick says, a question for the Ask the Elephant for you to mull over, which I haven't had a chance. I'm sorry. Any pre-2014 games you really want to stream that you haven't been able to due to all the newer stuff being all nice and shiny and new? Honestly, well, Democker is a big one, right? We still haven't streamed Dominant Species. A lot of the bigger games, actually, we just haven't gotten to yet because right now it's Essen season, right? You know, for the streams and everything, and mostly for the reviews. And so it's a matter of getting those out and about and released. And then the second half of the year, meaning from like April through April through August, working on the older stuff. So I'm looking at the first couple seasons of reviews that we did, and Neue Heimat is definitely one. Argent, the consort, I guess that's newer. Never mind. Merchants of Venice, I definitely would like to get down. I mean, a lot of Age of Steam, a lot of 18XX, a lot of war games. Yes, really, I promise. Twilight Struggle. I think that'd make for an awesome 2-player stream with me and Amanda. Agricola, we still haven't done. I mentioned Democker. Automobile, yeah, there's a ton. There are more pre-2015 streams that we haven't done than post-2015 streams that I want to do. How's that for an answer? And Marlon says that hats are awesome. Darn shipping costs. All right, I'm going to stop right there since you brought that up, and I will show. So I have all the swag right here behind the chat, right there. Pretty slick how I move that, huh? Huh? Magic. All right, so let me show you all here. So here, hey, my tableau cam. So, wow. Okay, there we go. So I will try and keep the mic out. So, all right, start off with the obvious stuff that you guys have seen. Wow, come on, there we go. So we have the challenge coin. So this is not a big commercial. It's just to show guys and gals what all it is. So this is mine. This is the very first one that we chose. You can see the actual cracks in the heavy right there. I love that all that came through, and it is solid metal. So, And the other side, you guys have seen these, so I'm not going to spend too much time, but the Plan Better, Play Better. And by the way, those are not trees. That's the waveform of me saying welcome to heavy cardboard, because we thought that would be an appropriate thing since I say that every episode, plus kind of welcoming you to heavy cardboard, right? So there you go. So there's the challenge coin. All right, next comes in a little baggie here, the pin. So I'm going to go a lot quicker on these, okay? Yeah. So it has the military clasp on the back there, all right? It's a 1 inch. So there you go. Yeah, and you can see it's cloisonné, so it's hard enamel just like the coin in metal. There you go. All right, cool. I have one on my backpack. When you guys get the actual coins, they come in this, open up the pouch, and there's the coin in there. I don't want to put fingerprints on it, but there you go. That's how it comes. Okay. All right, cool. The patch, the iron-on patch, you guys have seen this. All right. Yep. You can see the iron-on part. These turned out really good. They're 4 inches across. I think you guys saw the picture of that I shared. Okay, cool. All right, so some of the stuff that y'all haven't seen other than, okay, so there's the hat. And the this cost a lot extra to put Davis back here on the back right there, but that was a really, really big deal to me since I tend to wear my hats backwards mostly anyway. So yeah, having Davis back here, and they're New Era 3930, which these are as nice a hats as they make, really. And the different size. So I wear medium large, right? So there's small, medium, medium large, and then a large, extra large. So there you go. Cool. All right. So there's the hat. Now the stuff you guys haven't seen in person. Or, well, you get the idea. Well, pint glasses. By the way, it's really, really important on the pint glasses here to not wash these in dishwasher. This will go away. If you hand wash it, it won't go away. So yeah, we have some that are just blank. You can still feel it, but you can't really read it. So yeah, do not put these in a dishwasher, okay? Or it will be sad and Davis will go away. All right. Speaking of hand wash only, oh, I'm really happy with how the coffee cups turned out. So you can see. So this is the orange color. So I'll kind of bring them over. We have the blue. Ooh, and for us lefties, we got a chance to put Davis on the backside as well. So, you know, we can see that, but it also shows folks on either way, right? So we have the blue there. The red. Right? And last but not least, the stormy gray. So I do like that the gray, and it might not show up really, really well, but it's a kind of a flat black out here, a matte black, and then the shiny gray. It starts on the lip up here. You can kind of see the difference right there. But yeah, they turned out really, really good. Really happy with how those are. All right, cool. All right, there's one last thing swag-wise. I lied. There's two last things. One that I was really excited about. So I blame WBC for this. So everybody there who goes to cons, you get, you know, a con badge, right? So we have these now. So there we go, the heavy cardboard one. So check this out. And I'm going to go through this and why I like these so much more than regular badge holders. So you put your badge in there, right? So if you were wearing it, this would be up against you like that. So you have a place for business cards. Always nice, especially for me, or anything else that you want to put in there, a couple of pen holders, but then open that up. You have a massive pouch that goes all the way down to the bottom there. So you can put your phone, you can whatever. So you can have your phone to where it's like that. And then for me to be able to carry money or whatever, this goes all the way down inside that as well. So that's, yeah, I'm really, really happy with the way these turned out. And the logo is there. So, yeah. So, these are in the store as well. All right, cool. Last thing. I'm going to have to switch the camera for this one because it's too big. All right. Oh, thanks, Amanda. All right. So, the last thing, to our legitimate surprise, one of the biggest selling things in the store have been the game bags. I have one of them right here. It's a game bag. There. And there's Davis right there. See it? So this looks pretty good. It's not perfect how I want it, though. So what we're going to do, to the surprise of everybody that ordered one of these bags, we're going to give you one of these to go along with it free of charge if you order one, so that you have it on that side. You can also put it on the side there, or throw it, cable's in the way, sorry, or put it, you know, like that and iron it on yourself. So that's going to come with every bag. These, and nice thing is they collapse completely when they're done. So they're kind of a mix between fabric and like a canvas and a tarp. It's kind of, I mean, it's got these really nice handles on the side, and it's got the shoulder straps like that. So there you go, commercial loaf. And yes, it's only blue on the badges, on the badge holders. People mentioned royal blue kind of being our color, because mostly people associate it because the color of the table. So we stuck with the royal blue. We mold over a bunch of different colors, but yeah, so there's that. All right, so there you go. That's all the swag. All right, moving on. Oh, thank you, Franny. Franny says, well, you lost the $5 supporter here. I just upped it to 10. Thank you so much. Philip, do you mind me running an official heavy cardboard meetup at Dice Tower Con? Define official. How about you and I talk about that behind the scenes, and let's chew over some ideas. Keep in mind, time's a little limited during the Advent. Philip, when is Dice Tower Con? Just email me with all the details, and we'll talk about it there, and we'll go from there. Okay, cool. Scott asks, what's your favorite game that might surprise HC viewers? Ooh, boy, that's open-ended. Forbidden Stars was surprisingly amazing. I did not expect to enjoy that nearly as much as I did. Millennium Blades probably is the one that jumps to mind, though, because there's so many reasons I shouldn't like that game. There's so many aspects of that just say not a heavy cardboard type game, and I love it. So I would go with that. All right. Duncan asks a really, really good question here, especially given the Advent. He says, how many times do you typically play a game before streaming, and are you able to do that for the Advent? Yes and no. And I play a game as many times as I'm going to feel comfortable being able to teach it if I'm teaching the game. Okay, so that's kind of like that was said in Aramaic. Let me try and unpack that a little. If Dominant Species were on the schedule, this just in, it's not. At least not for the Advent. It's coming, though. Don't worry. I could teach that in my sleep. That requires almost zero prep other than laying out just the order in which I want to go and making sure I don't forget anything. So that's super easy. However, take, for instance, Vinos, right? I've played Vinos probably about a dozen times, and it took me 3 hours to prep for that. So it all depends on the game itself. Like Darkmiss, I'm not going to have too much trouble teaching that tonight. That's a pretty easy game. Agra, we're going to have half a game of it before we stream it. I'm not teaching it, so I don't need to. It's okay if Tony is teaching a game and I can come into it somewhat cold, and this way you guys get to see what it's like to be a new player at it, as long as the game gets taught correctly, that being the really important thing. So before we stream, I would say anywhere between 1 and 5 times. Usually the number is probably 3 to 5 is where I'm comfortable. Are we able to do that for every game that we stream? Most of them, I will say a minimum of 2 games. If I'm teaching it, it will be a minimum of 2 games. However, there are times we'll do an Age of Steam map and we've never played it, but the rules make sense. So, I mean, it's a sheet of paper, so it's not too hard. And we're all, pretty experienced at Age of Steam. So it varies. So I would say for any game that I'm going to be teaching, take Antiquity on Sunday. I've played that game a lot. But I haven't played it recently, so it's going to take me a lot longer to prep for that show than it would like Pixie Queen. Even though I'd only played Pixie Queen once before, I'd gone over the rule book a couple of times, felt comfortable, and then did all my prep for the notes, for the teaching notes, so that Rob could format them and everything, which is all in the works as well. We'll talk about that more in a bit. So yeah, I would say 2 to 4 times for all the Advent streams in which I'm teaching, maybe less if I'm not teaching it. All right. Dustin says, the streams have been great. Beats watching V. Appreciate it. I think they've been both well attended, more well attended, and they've just gone better than I expected them to go. Not that I didn't expect them to go well, just you get the idea. I was it's a stream, right? Like last night surprised the hell out of me. I didn't expect hardly anybody to show up for Pixie Queen. I'm pleasantly surprised to see that was not the case. Matt W asks, how much gaming have we done offline, if any, during that Advent streaming month? Saturday's game day here, so we'll stream one game in here, and then everyone else is playing downstairs on the other tables, and so we'll have 1 or 2 other tables going, so we'll play a fair bit other than the Advent, but usually only on Saturdays and Sundays, because obviously Amanda works during the day, as does Matt. So unless I'm learning a game, which really isn't happening much right now, it's more or less just preparing for the streams, or any other content that I got like this today, or writing Patreon updates that I didn't expect to write today. Outside of that, it's really only extra gaming on Saturday and Sunday. It's all we have time for. It's all anyone is alive for and not sleeping or at work. Matthias, I bought Mini Rails after seeing it on Heavy Cardboard Live playthrough. It's been a mixed success with my game group. Any thoughts on the best player count for the game? 5 is pretty chaotic. I haven't played it at 3, but we really kind of enjoyed it at 4 and 5. A best? I would think you would have more control over it at a lower player count, so probably 3 or 4 might be best if you're a control freak in your games and you like less chaos. But then again, those are probably the same people that want to play Dominant Species with 2 or 3 players, whereas I prefer it at 4 to 6. So your mileage may vary there. Gallerist playthrough? It'll happen. It'll definitely happen. I mean, all of our favorite designer catalogs are at some point going to get streamed, right? And think about this. Okay, so let's take the Advent out of this. Obviously, we're not going to stream 24 days in a month normally. But let's say we backed it down to even 2 games a week. Okay? Just the what if. We're not going to, but just indulge me. 2 games a week. And let's assume there are 2 weeks dark in which we're not streaming. Let's even say 3 weeks. Whatever. Let's round it to 50 weeks. 2 games a week. That's 100 streams. That's 100 different games. Now, 20 of those being Age of Steam. I'm kidding. But 100 different games in the course of a year. 3,500 come out, but how many are really interesting? So I would say we have enough content backlog-wise for the next 10 years or so. So I think we'll be okay. But even if we backed it down to just 3 or to 3 streams a week, still 150 games a year that we're live streaming. That's a ton of games that fall either within our scope of Heavy Cardboard or from the heavy gamer's perspective, which will be here and there as we go along. So yeah. Any ETA on hoodies? They have been shelved until after the Advent. However, I suppose it wouldn't be too much work to make a couple calls to different embroidery places around town. If we can procure the hoodies, which we can, same places where we get most of our swag for imprint, we might be able to hook that up this month. Amanda, since I know you're watching, make a note of that, please, and I will make some phone calls and see what I can find out. Because the problem is right now, so the place where we want to get the hoodies, they only want this on the back of the hoodie, and I'm like, that would look stupid. Are you kidding me? Whereas the ones we have are, I think, 12-inch embroidery on it. And if we were to get it done locally, they wanted something like $22 a hoodie for the embroidery alone, plus the cost of the hoodie. And I was like, no one's going to pay $60 for a hoodie. It doesn't make sense. So we have to find a happy medium. If we can get the hoodies themselves at a fair price, and then find a place that will do the embroidery, then we can do it. The only catch is we're really going to have to limit the colors of the hoodies that we're able to, because we have to order them in bulk. And I don't know how many chartreuse hoodies we would actually... Actually, better idea. I think what we would have to do is kind of like what we did during the Patron drive, and do like a P20 order. Hey, here are your orders and color choices and size. You say, everybody pays. Then we order the hoodies, we get them in, we get them embroidered, then we ship them. So it might end up working something like that. Okay. That way we get the exact size and the exact color that everybody wants. That makes the most sense. So it'd be kind of a print on demand thing. What are the chances of there being a heavy cardboard promo in Albin's Clinic Kickstarter release? Amanda, make note of that. Speaking of which, here's a little surprise that you guys get wind of that nobody else knows about. I just got an email literally 5 minutes before we went live here from Albin. Hold on, I'll read exactly what it says. It says, wow, getting a lot of emails. Hold on, I gotta back up and find out where it is. I went too far. Oh, for the love of all that's good and holy. A moment. I could paraphrase, but why, right? There we go. Oh, hey, here. Speaking of which, pretty funny that there are a lot of people complaining about, oh, it's 2019. Why are you even announcing it now? About Clinic reprint and deluxe and with Ian O'Toole's artwork. And I'm like, can't win for losing. So Albin gives us the ability to put it out there for everybody. And I'm like, why sit on it? Let me just go ahead and put it out there. Now, Albin's emails, he writes emails like he does rules. So the way he wrote it was April 19. Hence why I thought it was April 19, 2018. But no, it was April of 2019. So I'm like, still, I'll put it out there. And people are complaining, oh, that's a long ways away. I'm like, really? Come on, people. Anyway, Albin's email. He says, hey. Actually, he says hi. Sorry. Just doing some housework around here, and I found several copies of the Denver map for tramways. Are you interested in getting them for Patreon gifts? I can ship them to you. Why, yes. Yes, Albin. Yes, I am. So, yeah, more giveaways for you guys. Huh? There you go. All right, cool. So, yeah, there you go. So as far as a heavy cardboard promo specific, I can talk to Albin. He likes us. He wants to help us. So that's something that definitely could happen. I could see that. Cabralicus says the dominant species video better be the best, most awesome live stream ever. We are going to use ours with the Safari limited miniatures that we have. So there's that. I hope so. I don't know. No pressure. Did I watch Ant Lab's play of Pixie Queen? I haven't yet. I got sidetracked by the Patreon news today, so that kind of, we've been in discussions how to address this, and we wanted to make sure, and like I said in the email, Patreon, you guys are going to get an email from Patreon putting their spin on it, however, but we were like, you know what, no, we want to mention this first to you guys. So it took me, so whenever you guys get Patreon updates, by the way, so bone to pick with all you guys, I spend a lot of time writing those, and it seems a lot of people don't actually, they cursory, just kind of gloss over them and don't actually read them. So that's why I'm going more now to bullet point ones. Just here's information, boom, done. But it took me a couple hours to write that and make sure that it came across right and didn't get lost, like all the detail, too much minutia in the numbers and everything. But I wanted to be, like I said, you guys know this, I want to be transparent with all this stuff. So I wanted to, so it's a fine balance, right, on that. So yeah, that's, it takes me a while to write these sometimes. So no, that took priority over watching the, play through Ant Labs of Pixie Queen, but it'll be hopefully on the docket this week. Do you ever study, Dustin, this is a good question. Do you ever study strategies prior to playing games, or do you develop your own strategy as you go along? I almost never come into a game with a plan. On occasion I do, but I'll never study strategies. That's part of the fun for me, is learning those things as I go along in games. So yeah, it's totally okay, we're going to sit down and play. I might go in with, I kind of have a broad idea of what it is I want to do, but no more than that. You can probably tell by how few times I actually win. Ooh, we have a delivery. Any Wednesday morning, afternoon, 2-player playthroughs during the Advent? Probably going to happen. However, that's been the majority of the time when we've been prepping, recording, and editing the podcast. So we'll see, but probably not today, though. Again, things got thrown way out of whack today with the Patreon stuff. Mech Engineer, following up on Dustin, do you miss not having more time to develop deeper strategies since you are always learning and reviewing new games? I love getting deep into heavy games. I'm already overwhelmed with the 10 new games I got this year. We still, no, Advent notwithstanding, okay, we still have plenty of time to play games more often. I mean, we still play a game 4, 5, 6 times before we review it. So we're still able to get in more plays of games. Now, I realize that's not 24 plays of a game, et cetera, but that's just not going to happen as long as we have a show, which is for a long time, hopefully. That's just not going to happen unless we don't review it until, a year. Excuse me. Until years down the road. It's just not going to happen. So do I miss it? I'm one of those weird people that I'll burn out on a game after a dozen plays if I play it too often in too short a time. So it actually works for me. Although after the Advent, starting in January, we're going to get back to the game of the month here at HCHQ. So we're going to have 3 game days. We're going to have Mondays, Fridays are 2 separate game of the month groups here at the house. Well, same group, but different subsets. You know what I mean? There'll be different games for game of the month, and then Saturday being our normal game day. So we're going to have no problem getting back to that, just with as crazy as the end of the year was for con traveling with Spiel, BGG, and next year those, and maybe even PAX, it might be the same for that time frame. But after that, we're probably not going to do the Advent again unless Amanda's full time, because this is pretty insane, to be honest with you. But no, I don't really miss it because I feel like we're still getting enough plays of games in. That makes sense. We very specifically chose the games for reviews for this month because we knew we would have time to be able to play them enough to be able to do a true review and not just trailers for them, because we want to ensure, and this was a really big deal, we wanted to make sure that the podcast doesn't get short shrift during the Advent. So there you go. My question for y'all: are y'all enjoying the first looks and all the podcast content? I know people are enjoying the live streams. Are you guys still enjoying the rest of the content? That's my question for you. And there's going to be another survey coming out. You can expound on that, but I'm curious. You can feel free to write in chat now. Let me know. Franny asks, any chance of the playthrough of Tony Boydell's Ivor, the engine game? You need to do the sound effects, though. It's not on the docket. Let's put it that way. Martin says, I would enjoy deeper strategic analysis of the games that deserve it. And that will be coming once things calm down after the Advent. We have some ideas, stuff like Age of Steam, Dominant Species, stuff that I have a lot of experience with. And then once we exhaust that, which isn't too much further past those games, then I can start bringing in like a third chair, or in this case, it would be a co-host, but as a third, a roving change, kind of what the Long View does. And I don't want to step on their toes too much, but kind of that idea, because I only have so much experience with so many games. And the deeper strategy discussion, I need to be careful on, because I don't want it to come across as, oh yeah, I know this is right, when I only have 10 plays of a game, and oh no, that's totally wrong as you advance more. So that's my one big hesitation on that, especially when it comes to stuff like 18xx, etc., etc. Philip says, when do you think you'll run the Kickstarter for Henkel and Stein? Yeah, I'm going to push really hard for Capstone to reprint that. My only apprehension is getting those rocks. Like, how are they going to make those? Because they're not actual rocks. They're all like some sort of composite material that, like, it's like sand that that's like been glued together, not glue, but you get the idea. So it does slough off. So they would have to make something a little bit more sturdy, and then you have to worry about shipping costs and all that. But then again, he did do the climbers, and that's a heavy box of wood. So it can be done. I'm going to try like hell to get that thing reprinted. You'll see a stream of it probably in January. All right. Oh, hey, Carmen. Which would you vote for as a 2018 WBC tournament game? Docmas, The Climbers, Forged in Steel, or Card City XL? Uh-oh, I lost my spot. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Which do you think would attract the most players? The Climbers, I think, for the simple fact that whenever Amanda and I go to a convention, that's usually the first game that we bust out on a table, because it attracts a huge crowd, and it definitely is eye-popping, and it's a good icebreaker to be able to talk about it. So what would attract the most players? The Climbers. Which would I vote for? Docmas, Forged in Steel, Card City. Ooh. I'd be down for some Forged in Steel for a tournament, but the correct answer is Dominant Species, though. No review of 18CZ this month? No. I've opened the box and looked at it. Oh, pretty. And that's it. New York says first looks are great during cooking. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm catching up here. Give me a minute. Martin brings up a good point. He says the first looks are good. The length is good for him. Just always mention how long the game takes and how many players. That's something we'll work on. Appreciate the feedback. Amanda, please make note of that. It's a bummer, Vince, about not being able to get through the Great Firewall of China. So what you need then is somebody to be able to either download them, and can you get them like on like a Google Drive or a Dropbox or something like that? If so, email me. So Philip brings up a good point there about Elad, Golden Egg Games, in that interview. I knew that was going to be a little controversial. I tried to stay away from the Kickstarter discussion. I don't have any experience with it firsthand, nor have I delved into that, so I didn't want to speak to that, but I was like, he asked, and I was like, sure, we can do it. So, yeah. But that's definitely not an endorsement by any means, one way or the other. Oh, there you go, York. Have Sweater Mike come on to be able to take a deeper dive into Through the Ages in Puerto Rico. That's exactly what it is that I'm talking about. That's perfect. And yes, Vince, the hat I'm wearing as well as the gray one here is from Davis's Dry Goods. Yup. And it's comfortable. I mean, it's a stretch to fit, right? So, yeah. And I figure this is a little bit more informal than the normal live streams. By the way, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but both Amanda and I are trying to dress nicer. In general, me in polos, Amanda in nicer female clothes stuff. Just because, have y'all ever stopped to watch other content? A lot of it, I want to give ours a look of professionalism, a lot more so than I feel like it has in the past, just from an aesthetic, the way we dress. So we're definitely making a concerted effort on that. So I'm not sure if anyone noticed that. So yeah. Anyway. All right. Let me actually catch up on chat now, because Amanda's been sending some to me, the questions. Is there a timeline on the player aids teaching note? Good. Okay, good, Michael. I'm glad you brought that up so I can give a little bit. You guys aren't reading the Patreon updates, so me trying to write everything out doesn't make sense. So here, I'll just tell you. All right. So here's what's going on with them. So there is one person that offered to format them, and look, the format idea that they presented looked great. Unfortunately, real life has gotten in the way, and that took longer for that to be communicated than I would have liked, maybe. But life happens, right? So we kind of had to restart everything. So all that time was kind of wasted. So as of last week, someone else has taken upon them the formatting and doing this. So let me give you guys an idea here of what it is that I'm talking about. So when I do my prep work for a live stream to teach, I start with a very, very basic outline that I just created myself. It has my little spiel that is actually taped just below that camera that you guys are seeing me from. It's where hopefully you guys aren't seeing my eyes dart back and forth as I'm reading that right below the camera. And then everything else is the teach. And so when I go through this, it's not always perfectly consistent between one sheet to another, one teach to another, and trying to get those into a format that is universal, looks professional, and is something that I would be proud to present. I don't want to give you guys just the Microsoft Word doc of miscolored dots and little bullet points and just that's not the that's just not how we want it to come across. And I want to make these look professional, yes, but I want them to look consistent, and I want them to have a very clean and professional appearance. And so that's what we're waiting on. I mean, every time I do a teach, I have my notes that I've made. So it's not a functional, it's very much a form issue is what we're waiting on that. So time frame, I have given you my word that at least the first handful, if not all of them, will be available by the end of the month. We're going to hold to that. Now, I should also note that if you go into, I've only actually started this making the outlines for myself in the last 2 months, maybe 2.5 months. So a lot of the earlier teaches, I don't have those. Now, once the Advent's over, there's nothing to say that I can't go back through and make them for the older episode stuff. But I don't have them. So they will be an ongoing edition. So there will be more added to the catalog as we go along and as I have time. So once the Advent's over, then I got plenty of time for a couple of months before we start doing anything for any cons or anything. And even then, it's only a con or two and then a couple months off until Heavy Con, which leads to the next question. Heavy Con. Amanda just finished the invitation while I am in here doing that. That's why she's not here. She was working on that. And so we're going to go over that together tonight, and we're going to make any adjustments needed for that. Invitations will start to go out tomorrow. So there's that. Yeah, so that's the time frame on the teaching notes. So hopefully that answers the why as well as the when and what. I hope that answers it, Michael, and for everybody else, because trust me, I've gotten enough questions about them. I promise they're coming. And that's why I changed the format, because I kept getting questions about them. I'm like, I just answered this right here in the update, but I think they were just too long and people just didn't see it, maybe. Dean says, are you planning to live stream from HeavyCon 2018? Nope. The internet's not good enough there, and it is prohibitively expensive to actually get a wired internet set up from there. So are we planning on it? Nope. Could it happen? Yes. But planning on it? No. We'll see how it goes. Jared says, no more dancing on the table in your shorts. No, sorry. I'm never say never. Never say never. All right. Philip says, no, not a suit and tie, guys. But yeah, you get the idea. Michael says, don't worry. My HR yells at me for not reading my work emails too. It's not just your emails. And I guess I shouldn't be terribly surprised, because we support other Patreon, right? Other content creators. And I don't read all their emails either. So I can't hold you guys too harshly when but I'm like, but mine are special. Nah, they're really not. But they do have usually important information that you probably want to know. But yeah, so bullet points going to be a lot quicker now. And I appreciate that, Philip. Thank you. Dean saying, yeah, no one reads emails, even ones that say action needed. Apparently people read the update that I sent, though, since there was a lot of discussion about that, which I genuinely appreciate, guys. And I try not to overuse the whole, big caps. Important, you need to read this. Oh, and while I have some of y'all here live, as well as after the fact, if you have not taken a survey for your rewards, I think it's at the $10 and up level. If you have not filled those out or given your vote, whatever, do so, please. Very long, do read. Thank you, Yorick. All right, cool. I appreciate that, Mech Engineer. He says, I, for one, am more than okay with waiting a little longer on teaching notes so that they're cleaner and more consistent. So cool. I appreciate it. And Vince, yeah, he says, can you give us a hint as to what teachers will be included in the first wave of the teaching notes? The first wave, I can't because I am not doing them, and I don't know the order in which those are going to happen. So I can't answer that question because legitimately, I really don't know. But what I can do is I can tell you some of the ones that are included in this. I mean, I have to open the folder. Give me a minute. This is not all inclusive, okay? But Clans of Caledonia, Carthago, Kalimala, Kanban, Rococo, Iberian Gauge. That one's not too hard. Founders of Gloomhaven, although I don't know how accurate that'll be when it's actually comes out. Castles of Burgundy, Cavam, Arkwright, the Ruhr, Vasco da Gama, Tramways, Wildcatter, St. Petersburg, Pixie Queen, all the stuff from the Advent, and there are a handful of others. So that hopefully will give you guys an idea. So that cool? Urgent A through Urgent D, and Urgent D just don't even bother reading. Okay. That's funny. So hopefully, Vince, that gives you an idea on what you're looking at for those, and I hope that sounds good. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. Can you please share your t-shirt printer with Jim from Punching Cardboard? His aren't quite as comfy as yours. No, I love Jim, but no. No, we actually get those done locally. And that, honestly, the reason the shirts are $25 instead of 20 is they're just that much more. They're expensive to make, or to purchase, I guess would be the right. Yeah, and make, I guess, because the colors. And you know that little HC that's on the back, on the nape of the neck? The setup cost for that ain't cheap just for that. But again, I want something on the back so that if somebody's walking behind you, they can see the HC or whatever, something to show that it's not just a plain blank back. So that was really important to me. But yeah, the shirts are just, because they're the tri-blend, they're just more expensive to make. And so that's why we charge what we do on them. Not that anyone has complained about it, but just letting you know. The survey will be after the weekend. We're taking some time to make sure we format the questions very clearly, and so we get the types of answers that will be most helpful for us. So you'll know, it'll be hard to miss. Survey enclosed, something like that for a Patreon update, okay? Franny says the best way to get people to read an email, do not read this email, right? All right, so I guess that's it, y'all. So it's what? 5:15. I got an hour and 45 minutes I still have to set up Docmas here. Got to vacuum the table, get everything set up. Cool. All right. Well, hey, seriously, I appreciate everybody taking the time today, both to read the update about the Patreon, as well as giving us feedback and understanding where we're coming from on it, and understanding that we just wanted to give you guys a heads up of what's coming and have it come from us as opposed to from Patreon. So thanks, everybody, and definitely appreciate the support. Obviously, and we just hope it continues both from y'all as well as others going forward, and we go from there. So day 6 of the Advent later on tonight. All right. So, by the way, the 12th is the first day of Hanukkah. So Philip, what? So Amanda's wrong. She's screaming at me the 13th. It's not. It's what is it, Philip? It's 42 minutes after sundown on the 12th is the beginning of Hanukkah. And here's a little sneak peek for next week. So here are actually 3. Do you guys want to know next week? Do you want to know some of the live streams for next week, or do you just want to be surprised? I'll wait to read. It's on about a 10-second delay. Thank you, Alexander. I appreciate it. See? Told you, Amanda. 42 minutes after sundown. So that's the beginning of Hanukkah. Well, I got one yes now. Okay, we got two. Yeah, it's good enough. It's the majority or something. All right, so check it out. So Monday is going to be I think Monday is QE, I think. Oh, shoot. Now I'm putting my foot in my mouth. Hold on. I need to look at this. All right. I'm trusting you guys with all of this, okay? Oh, Dustin, hush, you know what it is. All right, so here we go. You want the entire week? Ah, screw it, I'll just give you the whole week. Here you go. December 11th, Monday, QE. Game that you can't get, but I know of a way to get you guys copies. So there's that. December 12th, first day of Hanukkah. Operation Maccabee, killing Nazis with dreidels. We actually asked Philip, because he's the rabbi of the herd, to make sure that that wasn't going to come across as disrespectful. He gave his blessing. So we're good. All right. That works for me. Wednesday is going to be a really fun day. Now, what I'm about to tell you is one of the perks for coming into these chats. Okay? Let me see. Hold on. All right, one of the perks of coming into these chats is getting secrets. Secrets mean, please keep this in-house for right now, okay? This is me trusting you guys to do this. Wednesday, Jordan Draper, who is the head of Dark Flight Games, they made Import-Export. They're going to be making Tokyo Metro. And they also made this little card game called Turin Market. Turin Market is going to be the live stream on Wednesday. It is way out of print. He sold out of it. Ever since we did our daily diary from BGG Con, it's nearly impossible to get. However, he is going to make a pre-order available on his website to run a Kickstarter. And I don't know how much it's going to be, 15, 20 bucks for a copy. He actually offered us, after he heard our live stream, or I'm sorry, he heard our daily diary, he was like, huh. And I told him, I could probably sell 30 copies of those things just to people that have played it here at BGG Con. And that was the impetus for him to offer up the pre-sale or pre-order for them. And he's going to offer, we get 10% of the proceeds for that, because as he put it, it would be dead and forgotten if you had not picked up a copy at Essen. And I bought the copy at Essen from him. And so, yay. So that's cool. So he's going to be here at HCHQ on Tuesday and Wednesday. He lives in Salt Lake City, $60 round trip flight. So he's flying over so we can go over Tokyo Metro. He's going to give me one of the prototypes, and we're going to live stream Turin Market on Wednesday, and we will drop the news that, hey, here's the pre-order. If you like this, you can go order. And yeah, so that's pretty exciting. It's the first time we've ever been offered something like that, and he didn't have to. He's just doing it because he's like, you know what? This game would be completely forgotten about if you guys had not done this, so thank you. And I was like, that's really, really cool. So yeah, buy Turin Market, A, because it's a really good game, and B, hey, you're supporting the show. Win. All right, so that's Wednesday, all right? So QE on Monday, Operation Maccabee on Tuesday, Turin Market on Wednesday, then Rajas of the Ganges. So Tony's going to teach that. He says it's a really, really good game. I haven't played it. I'll learn it on the stream. That's going to be on Thursday. Then on Friday, we have a decision to make. We're still not 100% sure. It's either going to be Transatlantic or Noria. I'm not sure which. Noria we've played once. Transatlantic we have not, so we'll see. Saturday is going to be something a little bit different. So Michael Brandt, one of our patrons and local guys who's been on the stream, he's been on Arkwright and he was on Vinos with us. He wanted to teach viticulture. So he's going to do viticulture with me, him, his wife, and Banker Dave, all of which have played the game a number of times, along with the Essential Edition. So we're going to have that. Sunday is going to be a 2-player war game between me and Brian. So we're going to have that. Then the following week, I'm not going to give exact days on this, but we have Altiplano, we have Age of Steam, Washington, D.C., we have Keeper in 1822. And the 1822 Teach is going to be its own stream on Friday. 1822 will be all day on Saturday. There we go. All right. So there you go. Okay. So there are still a few days in there that I didn't mention what's going on, but yeah, there you go. So that's one of the perks of coming into the streams. You get little secrets like that. So please be respectful and don't let that out there, because otherwise. And also, make sure you download the weekly look ahead still. Just because you heard about it, you don't know what the podcast is going to be. So there's that. All right. I got to go set up, guys. I got to get ready for tonight's stream. Okay. So thank you again, seriously, for taking the time today. More importantly, thank you for being patrons. I'm not doing this right here if not for y'all. So thank you guys. All right. Yeah, cool. Should be a lot of fun, exhausting, and you're not going to see Amanda for a few days, actually, because she is not going to be. Hold on before I cut out of here. Let's see. So the rest of this week, you will not see Amanda until Saturday. Oh, you know what? Hold on. There's actually something I wanted to ask you guys, and I'm being dead serious when I bring this up, and I want to talk about this for a second because it's something that I forgot about that we're not sure on, and we really, really need your guys' honest opinion. Either you can put it in the comments right now, or you can put it on Slack or email us, okay? But this is something that we're really struggling with, and we're not sure how it will be taken. So Friday is the Glory to Rome patron-only stream, okay? And Amanda is really reticent about being on that. She is really apprehensive about her being on that stream because we're not sure how people would react or what their thoughts would be, or if it would be a faux pas to have Amanda on that stream. Now, is that sexist? No, it's just being realists, right? About having a woman. Amanda's one of the guys at game day, right? And she's very comfortable being her. But she obviously tries not to jump into the joking and the cussing and all that stuff, especially while we're on stream, right? But maybe with our local game group, she's a little bit more comfortable with that. So she's real reticent to do that. And so we're really having a hard time whether or not she should be on the Glory to Rome stream or not, because we're worried about how that might be perceived. Even though it's only y'all, it's not going to be out there for public. In theory, it never gets out, but it's possible that somebody shares it out there. So we're really, we're just worried about that. And so I kind of wanted to get y'all's take on whether or not you think, oh, that's dumb, that's nothing to be concerned about, or hey, I can kind of understand where you guys are coming from. So yeah, feedback on this would definitely be helpful. And there's 600-ish of y'all out there that will at least be able to watch this, even if there's only 30 or so of y'all live now. Really curious on feedback. Now, today is Wednesday. We have 36 hours. Well, I guess 48 hours. But we need to be able to plan who all's going to be on it. Right now, it's going to be me, Matt, and Sweater Mike. Ash, if he's able, but he might have real life scheduling issue. And understand, y'all, I understand that women can swear. I don't have a problem with that, but it's also real life, right? So no. And if she's not comfortable, I told her she's not going to be on if she's not comfortable with it. All right. So, but can y'all at least understand where, yeah, and Amanda says it, that this is our livelihood, y'all, and that she's the one that brought this up. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. But yeah, so I think getting feedback from y'all one way or the other, I think would help her understand what the general opinion would be of that. So, you know what I mean? And yeah, so she just wants to make sure that it doesn't come across poorly. I'm a Marine. I'm expected to fucking cuss, right? I mean, seriously. So. All right. Well, cool. At least she'll see this, and maybe that'll not influence her, but maybe it will calm her fears a little bit, maybe. Yeah. Oh, and I agree, Derek, that, you know, it's sad that it's even an issue, but it is. Whether it should be or it shouldn't be is neither here nor there. We just have to be smart about this, right? Because we're not so much about the patrons, although we are a little bit. And by we, you know what I'm saying. It's more if this were to get out in the public, that how would that look? Whether it should or shouldn't be an issue is not the point, I guess, right now. It's simply, would this negatively impact Amanda's image and the image of the show, I guess. But those two things are the things that I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amanda, but I think that's what she's most concerned about. All right. Well, there you go. Cool. All right. I appreciate the feedback, y'all. Thank you. And that's why I wanted to ask, right? To help us and help her make a decision on this, and maybe either make her feel more comfortable, or she's like, no, if she's not comfortable, she won't be on it. So we'll find out come Friday together. All right, guys, for real now, no more false starts. I'm going to get out of here. I got an hour and a half to get ready, all right? Thanks, everybody, and thanks again for the support, y'all, and for the understanding about with all the changes going down with Patreon, all right? Cool. Yep, cool. I appreciate that, Carmen. Thanks a lot. All right, take care, guys. I'll see y'all in an hour and a half, all right? Sound good? Cool. Later.